Hello and welcome to another episode with me. Today we're doing something a little bit different, but it's something that I'm going to be starting today. We are talking about GCW Brooklyn, which happened on Thursday. So if we run through the card, we had Jordan Oliver versus Cole Radrick, Wasted Youth versus the SAT, Alex Coughlin versus one called Manders, Rob versus Sawyer Wreck, Charles Mason versus Jimmy Lloyd. We had a Matt Cardona birthday celebration. We had Blake Christian versus Joey Janela, Masha Slamovich versus Alec Price, and Zack Sabre Jr. versus Tony Deppen. So to begin this off, we had Jordan Oliver versus Cole Radrick, and Jordan is currently the JCW champion, and he was defending it here against Cole Radrick. I believe he won this at the J Cup tournament, but if that is incorrect, please let me know in the comments. This was his fifth defense, and I really enjoyed this match. You'll notice a common theme. I do really enjoy GCW's product. In the ring, they seem to have great chemistry, and it was quite a technical match, which for me, I wasn't expecting, and I really enjoyed it. It was a great way to open up the show, and Jordan Oliver retained. I enjoyed seeing both Jordan Oliver and Cole Radrick at GCW versus TNT, that 3-day weekender, which is also coming up this year, which is the 15th to 17th of September. Again, so same sort of dates as last year. I do hope to see them both return for that weekend. We then moved on to Wasted Youth versus SAT. Now for me, I really love the younger generation versus the more experienced generation type matches. And for me, I wasn't always into tag team matches for the longest time, and it's something I've only just started to get into. This match in particular, so Wasted Youth versus SAT, was a great match. To begin with, I was a little surprised that Wasted Youth was getting booed as much as they were. They were not getting the reaction which I'm used to them hearing, and then it was later revealed on commentary that I believe that this was the SAT's hometown, so I understand why now. But it was great to see Marcus and Dylan in the situation that they were, and the way that they managed to lean into it, because I think they were a little bit surprised as well by the reaction, but they both leaned into it really, really well. There was some incredible near falls here for both sets of tag teams quite a few times. But ultimately it was Spanish Flies and the SAT won. Up next, we had Alex Coughlin versus one called Manders. I'm probably saying Alex's last name wrong, so I apologize in advance. They are two extremely hard and heavy hitters. I was quite shocked at the strength of Alex and Manders. Both of them were incredibly strong. And I think people do underestimate the strength of Alex a little bit, including myself. I haven't got many notes here apart from that this was a very hard hitting match. There was a good little part of the match where this was quite early on in the match, I believe, if I remember correctly, Manders threw Alex on the ropes, and it was an incredible moment. I really enjoyed that. I hope that both of them fight again soon. And Alex picked up the win here by using a form of an arm bar, if I remember that one correctly. It was a great match. Again, you'll notice me, I'm very positive. I will find things that I like in every match. This match in particular, I like that they focused on Manda's arm and targeted it, and that was solid throughout the entire match. The next match is Rob versus Sawyer. For obvious reasons, I'm not going to say his last name, but this was a great statement match for Sawyer. There was weapons involved, chairs, doors, beer cans. There was just all kinds of normal GCW weaponry. And I think Sawyer is definitely a fan favourite. She's one of my favourites, and I think that she is definitely becoming more and more of a fan favourite wherever she goes, which is great to see. I personally can see Sawyer chasing after Masha for the GCW World Championship at some point soon, but there's a couple of things that we've got to do before then to get to that, which you'll hear in a bit. Sawyer picked up the win by choke slamming Rob through a door, which was a great way to end the match. And yeah, I just really enjoyed the fun element in this match. It was great. Charles Mason versus Jimmy Lloyd. I have a lot that I could say about this match because I enjoyed every single moment in this match. I'm used to seeing Jimmy sort of being okay with having a joke and a laugh and not taking things too seriously. But I believe this match was technically set up at the GCW versus DDT, if I'm remembering that correctly. But this was like an all business match. Charles Mason is one of my favourites, and I say favourites loosely because I love to hate him. Absolutely fantastic. There was belts used, chairs used, doors used. So again, more GCW weaponry used. And Charles just really knows how to get the crowd going. And I really enjoyed seeing his work over the past year or two with GCW and JCW. One of my favourite matches with Charles would have been with, I think it was Charles, Slade, and Bam Sullivan versus Ricky Shane Page, Billy Starks, and maybe Everett Connors. I'm not entirely sure that's correct. But yeah, this match with Charles Mason and Jimmy Lloyd was fantastic. But Charles ultimately won by choking Jimmy out with a belt, which I see has some people on Twitter going absolutely wild. Not gonna name drop people, but yeah, that was quite fun to see the reaction on Twitter. After this match, we then had the Matt Cardona birthday celebration. Matt wasn't at his birthday celebration due to family issues, but he did send Steph DeLander out with a microphone, and this was a very entertaining little part of the show. I think I enjoyed this because after the intensity of Charles and Jimmy, I kind of needed something to have a little laugh. Steph basically came out telling us how much we should all appreciate Matt Cardona, and if it wasn't for Matt Cardona, GCW wouldn't be the top independent company in the world, all those kind of things. And it wasn't long before the King's music hit and Nick Gage came out. And I would say that Nick Gage wasn't too happy with what was said. And this allowed Steph to be distracted for long enough for Sawyer to get in the ring and embarrass Steph DeLander by throwing cake in her face, which was very entertaining, and the crowd really seemed to enjoy it. Moving on from that, we then had Blake Christian versus Joey Janela. This was Joey's return match from injury. I believe he had a burn injury on his arm, which he had to take some time to recover from. But this was his return match. And I really enjoy all of Joey Janela's work. There's not one thing that I've seen that I've not enjoyed. Blake is definitely no longer a fan favourite, to say the least. But I do really enjoy watching how riled up he can make a crowd, which is really fun to watch. Now, during this match, Joey Janela mocked Blake a few times, which I found absolutely hilarious. And Blake grabbed a microphone and was like talking about getting, I think it's the Athletic Commission involved. And in turn, all this did was distract Blake for long enough to get Joey to hurt him some more. Blake is definitely great at mocking the crowd. I love both of these guys. Now, there's a key thing in my notes that I wanted to point out is that there was 6, I believe, if I counted that correctly. It's either 5 or 6 German suplexes from Joey to Blake. Absolutely incredible. Like, he did not let go, just kept going. And it was just, I loved that. I just absolutely loved this. This was what I would call a kick for kick, punch for punch, strike for strike, hard hitting match. Absolutely just insane levels of stuff. There was a door bridge that was set up with chairs, which is one of my favourite forms of weapons. But ultimately, this is a key point here, Charles Mason interfered in the match, costing Joey Janela his return win. Now, I have got my own little theory on this, which I will quickly touch base on, and then we'll see where we go from there. Paro was in the UK at Effie's Big Gay Brunch in the UK, and I feel like this could be the start of, so Billy Dixon, who was in Charles Mason's stable, helped Effie and is no longer part of that thing. So now I'm wondering if Blake's going to join Charles Mason and Paro to do something there. I don't know, but that's my little theory and I'm sticking with it for the time being. Up next was the co-main event, which was Masha Slamovich, who is the Game Changer Wrestling World Champion, versus Alec Price. To begin this match, the crowds were very, very evenly split between who they wanted to win and who they who they didn't. There was a new champ chant for Alec Price and Masha chant. It was a great amount of support, and then as the match got into it and as time went on, Alec was starting to get a little bit more desperate to pick up this win. So he started using some cheaper tactics, using the hair and things like that, which therefore turned the crowd a little bit more into Masha's favour. I do think Alec is highly underrated, and I do hope that one day he will come over to the UK for a visit. I'd love to see that. And I hope that I also get to see him more in GCW. I mean, there was a lot of near falls in this match, which made me believe that Alec had the championship won a few times. Ultimately, Masha put in a sleeper submission quite a few times. And after that, Alec Price eventually had no choice to tap out. After this match, as Masha was celebrating retaining her championship, Blake Christian was up in the stands, I guess that's what you want to call them. So he come down closer towards where Masha could see him and was doing the belt motion. Now, I believe he's won an opportunity to face for any championship. I'm not entirely sure how or when he won this opportunity, but I know that he has won an opportunity to go for any championship, and he's made it quite clear that he wants to go for that GCW World Championship. I'm not entirely sure what the procedure is for that, whether he has to make it known that he's gonna sort of cash it in, or whether it's like a Money in the Bank style thing where you just cash it in whenever and just go for it. So if anybody does know, please let me know. And lastly, this is my match of the year so far. I absolutely loved this match. I could sit and talk about this match for an hour straight. Zack Sabre Jr. versus Tony Deppen. Again, when Tony was over here for the GCW TNT event, I was firmly behind Tony. Tony is incredible, giving some great advice. And I was really excited for this match the moment it got announced. Tony's technical ability is fantastic, and getting to see him go up against, I'm just saying how I feel, the best technical wrestler there is at the moment that's active, which is Zack Sabre Jr. This was absolutely so good. I can't wait to go back and study this match again and again. It was a technical match that I could say that I have been waiting for quite some time. I'm a huge fan of technical wrestling. When I'm training, that's what I'm aiming for, some technical wrestling style of things. This fulfilled what I was looking for and exceeded certain expectations I had. I don't think many people are on the same level as Zack Sabre Jr. I think he's very hard to match up to. However, do I believe that Tony Deppen is on that level? Absolutely. Absolutely, I do. That match, they went hold for hold, strike for strike, slap for slap. I mean, this was incredible. There was quite an uncomfortable for me. I don't like seeing it necessarily, but I think that's the point of it. There was like a finger popping / breaking spot, which the first person that comes to mind when I think of it is Pete Dunne. I think he does it as well. But It was uncomfortable to watch, but I still loved it. And the trash talk between these two, they just absolutely trash talked so much to each other. I think there was a couple of little crowd spots as well where they both went and responded to what certain crowd members were saying, but between each other, the absolute trash talk that they were saying, incredible. There was a few like slap exchanges, which you could hear that echo through the building, which is absolutely insane to think about. How hard do you have to hit someone for it to make that amount of noise? That's insane. This match was extremely intense, a great way to end the show. I'm so glad it was the main event. And Zack Sabre Jr. picked up the win. Recently, so I'm recording this on Saturday and it's going up on Saturday. It's come to light that Tony Deppen is injured, so let's hope for the best and that he's back in the ring again soon. Believe it was a broken wrist. Hoping Tony Deppen's okay, going to be back in the ring at some point soon. But overall, this was a fantastic card from start to finish. There was nothing that I would say is missable. I think every single match deserves watching. And some of them multiple times to catch things that you might have missed. Just a great show from start to finish. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what GCW produces soon. If you enjoyed this episode, give it a thumbs up, give it a comment, share it about so that we can make more reviews, more content, and all of that fun stuff.